Party people, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I'm your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week I am joined once again by Sasha Reneau for the second half of our playthrough of Spindlewheel, the storytelling game of tarot-like card interpretation. When last we left our small resort community, they were dealing with the disappearance of the ocean and the myriad mysteries and dangers unearthed in its place. With only a handful of rituals to keep danger at bay, will our protagonists find peace and normalcy, or will the shifting tide of reality consume them? You'll have to listen to find out. But before we get to that, I've got a few announcements. First, thank you to our newest backer on Patreon, Abe Klein. Abe, I really appreciate your support. It really means a lot. Secondly, a note about the Patreon. I'm currently refreshing the Patreon with some new content to support the full breadth of the work that I do as opposed to just Party of One. Look for that in the next few days, somewhere between now and the new year, with new backer levels, new rewards, new goals, the whole kit and caboodle. And lastly, a quick reminder that if you're headed to PAX Unplugged this weekend in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, come find me, say hello. I'll be running Games on Demand Friday and Saturday, and I've got a panel about two-player games with the wonderful folks from Heartpoints, Pot of Love, and Russell Collins, designer of Project Wingspan, Sunday at 2:30. It's going to be a great convention, and I am very, very excited about it. With all that said, let's throw it over to our game of Spindlewheel, already in progress.
So, to introduce the story, we will go around the table in 2 rounds. The first round is to reflect. Draw a card from the deck into your hand. Read the card aloud to the table, and use it to reflect on something that weighs heavy on your character's heart or mind.
I have drawn luck. A called shot, a shifted spotlight, a lucky win, or a placed bet, a lapse in judgment, or a false positive. I'm gonna go with something that's weighing on me.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's weighing on me is I think it's simultaneously a placed bet and a false positive.
Oh.
It is the rituals that we've been performing have been very effective. And we have recently started, I think recently the elders, our sort of communal, our communal presence started doing a different ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real, and it's given us a more peace than we've had for a while. It's very effective, and I am certain that it is a Band-Aid.
Oh, yeah.
I'm convinced. We're just gonna keep doing this, and it's how long until the rituals just stop? How long until they stop working? Mm-hmm. And that's weighing on me because I'm so just laser-focused certain that the work that we're doing is holding something off instead of actually dealing with it.
Yeah. Dang.
And I take this into my hand?
Uh-huh.
All right.
So the card that I drew is Acetic Root, a potent sleep tonic when properly prepared, or stubborn roots anchored into a cliff, reaching wide and winding deep. Oh, it's that one. Absolutely. On Velm's patrol, I think that they have noticed these, tracks in the sand that are these sort of, root systems. But there's nothing there. It's just sort of these divots in the sand, that, lead back. I think they sort of wind around the bases of the mirrors and extend past the smoke screen into the into the dry abyss. Maybe they're not maybe it doesn't look like they're carved there. It looks like something was removed underneath it.
Okay.
And that is concerning.
That's good and not horrifying.
I don't know what that is, and I think about that a lot, all the time.
Well, probably all the time. I would recommend thinking about it all the time.
Just sort of mulling on that a great deal of the time. So the next step, let me pull that back up.
You're mulling on that, and I am mulling on you of mulling on that, and just
We're all having a great time thinking about things.
Yep, we're all just having a blast. Just having a great time. Beach resort.
Okay, once everyone has reflected, play a card from the Arbiter's deck. This describes the world's call to action. So I don't know how to shuffle cards in Roll20, so it's just whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Card. Fool. Good. Wide-eyed and open-hearted, unfettered by cynicism or context, or closed-minded and stubborn, faith born of spite. Okay. Here's my proposal for this.
Yeah.
Which is that, if and or when you voice your concerns about this new ritual, people are like, why are you complaining about this thing? I get to be out past 7, and I haven't been able to see, like, a proper sunset in, like, 2 years. This is so nice, and this is so good, and I don't know why you're trying to, like, mess with a good thing.
It's real good. That's real good.
Yeah, whenever I click the board, the thing goes away. I have to find it again. Here we go. Okay. So the next round is to engage the world by playing a card to describe how your character responds. What do they do about it?
I'm gonna play Lieutenant. And I'm gonna flip it. Soldier for hire. And I think I'm going to turn to the closest person to someone that trusts me, and the only person that has any vision of something outside of this. And basically, like, go to Vellum and say, listen, you've seen what's out there more than anyone. You know that being up past 7 is a carrot being dangled to distract from something far, far worse that is looming on the horizon. I need you to go out there and just bring back something. Something, I would never ask you to put the community in danger, but bring back something that could show the severity of what we're looking at so that we can motivate people to take some kind of action. To basically find something slightly horrifying to basically be like, look, here's a thing. So that people are shaken out of, well, 7 p.m. sunsets are nice.
Oh boy. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think I don't think I take that much convincing. Vellum responds like, yeah, I have a sort of small fund that I've been sitting on, and now is as good a time to break that out as any. I'll put together a team, and we'll head out and see what the ritual's actually doing. Because I also have concerns about why this is working.
I know what... I've read your notes. I know what you're seeing out there, and I just want someone else to see it other than me. Like, I know what you are encountering, and I feel like whatever ritual we are presenting, whatever ritual we're doing is just putting that just out of view so that people can put it out of sight and out of mind.
Yeah. I have a suspicion that what it's actually doing is feeding into something that we just can't see.
Yeah, so just if we can prove that, then maybe we can push people to change the way that we're approaching this.
So these two actions display the two fronts for storytelling, reflecting the interior character and engaging the exterior plot. On your turn, you'll use one card to reflect or engage. So reflecting is drawing a card from the deck into your hand. You read the card out loud to the table and use it to describe how the scene makes you feel or change. Whenever a player reflects, play a card from the Arbiter's deck, or engage. To make something a canon part of the story, play a card on the board, and describe how you act, what you say, or what details you add to the scene.
Okay.
There is a third secret thing that you can do at any time, which is ask a question. Asking a question is a free action. You can do this, you can ask anyone at any time about anything. If you draw from the deck to answer, then we'll shuffle that card into the Arbiter's deck. So that's all of the things.
Okay.
But now we should figure out which event has been queued. So, events are scenes described by the event's name that start with the 2 cards in the event slot. To queue an event means to indicate with character action or player prompting that you want to play it next. When someone queues an event, starts a conversation, tries a challenge, causes a cataclysm, that player decides on an event, then flips those 2 cards, crossing one over the other. We'll use these cards to frame the scene. An event can be the focus of the story, additional details to round out facts already established, or just the backdrop. If there's a desire card, we'll involve it in the description, and then we'll go around the table, engaging and reflecting on the scene until it feels the scene ends or another event is queued.
Okay.
And that's the game. So, given that, which do we think has been queued?
I'm saying either. Is it one of the? Is it limited to the 3 that we've set our desires next to, or is it any of the?
Not at all.
Okay.
Could be any.
I kind of see it as either a challenge, an invitation, or a conversation.
The difference between a challenge and an invitation there is stark. Especially since you were like, hey, can you bring, like, nothing horrible. I mean, can you bring something horrible back? Can you do that? Okay. Yeah, you know what, let's do the worst thing.
Yeah.
And let's have it be an invitation. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So we're gonna flip these 2, and then cross them. Oh! Interesting. Okay. So the 2 cards are Doctor, an authoritative voice, a curious mind, an unscrupulous scalpel, or a tender heart, a steady hand, a strong stomach, and a bridge, a choke point, a shortcut, rope and wood haphazardly lashed, or a stable connection, a thoroughfare, a mountain hollowed. I think that I want it to be a combination of an unscrupulous scalpel and something that Vellum says is a stable connection, but does not look like it is stable anything.
Mm-hmm.
It is this complex and delicate cage. It's hard to even call it a cage. It's like, it looks like a mess. It looks like something that a hurricane spat out of, like, a power grid. It's just like poles and wires and weird spheres, and it's just a mess. And inside is suspended on by these cables and by these poles is, I don't know, I'm gonna draw for it. Vultures, good, okay.
Great.
The shadows of undertakers, sharp-eyed and long-suffering, or hardy survivalists, bone-eaters, landing only to scour and salvage. So it's definitely got wings.
Mm-hmm.
That much we know.
Yep.
They're long, they're designed to sustain flight. They're like albatross level wings, where like this thing could be asleep up in the air. Oh, there's something about excuse me. Something about the shadows of undertakers, like sharp-eyed. This thing is absolutely still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And is absolutely pinned through with like pins and wires and whatnot, and is just like stuck in place. And is just quietly watching. Mm-hmm. Like when you get close to it, it turns a pair of eyes to you and doesn't seem to have an expression, but looks intelligent and seems to, like, understand you immediately, for better or worse. Mm-hmm.
Which is great, and not which is, you know, only the slightest bit unholy nightmarish.
So I brought this back. Here it is. Here's the thing that you asked for that I went and I got.
That's quite the... It fits the criteria.
It sure does. It sure does fit. What do I do about this thing?
I don't think that's our call.
Yeah?
I think we leave that up to the community, is what I think. I think we present this as the thing that we have been neglecting and that we have been ignoring just beyond our rituals reach. And
Just to clarify, I have no idea if this is related. I have absolutely no idea. I just went out into the waste and I grabbed something and I came back.
Well, here's the important thing.
Uh-huh.
They don't know either.
Oh, good. Good. Excellent. Yes, this is a strong place to be establishing an argument in a very scientific way of doing things. Why don't you draw from the Arbiter's deck to see how the community
All right.
is reacting?
I will do just that. Hearth. Closing doors, turning a blind... Closing doors, turning a blind eye, keeping your head low, weathering the storm, or a crackling fire, a comfortable silence. It's definitely we've presented this. We present this, and I am like, look what we have been neglecting. And people are like, well, so then that's why it's on the other side of the veil. This is why we need the rituals. And they just...
Oh, they double down.
They just double down. They double down and they don't even, like, blink. They're just like, yeah, right. No, this is, thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you for reminding us what we're doing.
Good. Great. Awesome. So this is clearly backfired.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't work. And it didn't work in maybe the most frustrating way. Like, if it had exploded and they had turned on us, that would have been one thing. But for them to just sort of, like, shrug and say, well, that's why we do what we do, is almost more frustrating. Mm-hmm. Is almost more infuriating.
Okay, here is my proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think we need to take a closer look at what they are actually doing. The people, I mean.
Okay.
I think that we need to... like, actually look at... I think that tonight we should do the, like, perform the ritual ourselves. What I want to do here is I want to deconstruct this thing down to its parts and figure out what about it is actually working. What makes this thing tick. And to do that, I'm playing Bad Blood, to drink from the same poison cup as your enemy.
I would like to also play an action, or engage in action. To say, yes, I am on board. I will play scholar, scrivener, and documentarian, and say, if you want to perform a ritual, I am the guy to do it.
Excellent.
I know these rituals, but if we are testing things, mm-hmm. There are more rituals that I would like to test.
Okay.
Maybe not. And he kind of silently, like, touches a book that he's got kind of strapped to a belt that is not from the normal library. And he's like, maybe not all of the rituals. But, like, I want to know if this is what we're doing, if this is how we attempt to understand the costs of our lot in our life, then I want to know as much as we can. And thankfully, I know these rituals back and forth. There will be no risk of people knowing what we're after.
All right. That sounds like it'll cue another event.
Yeah, I think so.
So before we go to that, at the end of an event, ask each player, what is your takeaway from this scene? Take a card from the event or draw a card from the deck to describe it. That card goes into your hand.
My takeaway from the scene is that no one is going to listen unless something incredibly drastic happens. Is that no matter what we put in front of them, people are convinced, and not for ill reasons. People are convinced that this is the right thing to do, and no amount of, hey, look at the cost of this is going to change that. Mm-hmm. That's my takeaway from this.
Which card are you taking?
I think I'm going to take Fool. I think I'm going to take Fool for that. Is that people And I think I think Fool is flipping towards close-minded stubbornness. I think as we're witnessing that transition from being wide-eyed and open-hearted to close-minded and stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
As people have started to say, well, nope, this is why we do what we do, and we're not going to change that.
Yeah. I think I'm going to take Doctor.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I think that dissecting the rituals is the thing to do here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also curious now to have a live specimen.
Mm.
And, once we get back from the rituals, that's worth looking into.
Yeah, for sure.
And the other question is, then ask for the Arbiter's deck. What haven't we seen the last of? Take a card from the X thread, take a card from the event, or draw a card from the deck to describe it. This card goes into the Arbiter's deck.
What have we not seen the last of?
My vote is Vultures.
I think Vultures. Vultures? Yeah, Vultures.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put a random card on top of it, and then pretend that is shuffled.
Yep, that works.
Roll20 is a very good program, and I barely know how to use it, so that's cool. Alright. So the rest of these cards get retired, and that event is not used again. So
okay.
While I put these away, which event should we do next?
This feels like a trial.
Perfect. Do you want to flip those two?
Yes, I do. This feels like a trial. I mean, in so many meanings of the word, it feels like a trial.
Absolutely.
We have Ophelia's Garland, a wilting flower crown, a dubious honor, a sickly and depressed faith, or allow those who crowned you to change who you are. And we also have Priestess, a calming presence, a reality grounded, a divine purpose, crackling with power, mired in blood, and melancholic and distant. Well, as much as I would love for this to be a calming presence, I don't think that's where the story is going. Crackling with power. And I think crackling with power and a sickly and desperate faith feel right. That feels right. Like we have begun, investigating these rituals and poking at things.
Oh, worth mentioning, the world's desire is up for grabs now in this scene. The old grudge, the tepid peace.
Oh, and maybe it's a new partnership.
Ooh.
Maybe that's what we find.
That's fascinating.
Maybe that's what we find, and maybe it's tied to this vulture that we found.
Oh my god, yeah, absolutely.
We start testing these rituals and things start. So here's what I'm thinking is happening. We're testing these rituals. I think we are testing these rituals near these these root structures that look like they've been hollowed out underneath. Mm-hmm. We're testing them, and as we start performing these rituals, and I start reading off the instructions and guiding things. The vulture starts I think the vulture starts thrashing, starts thrashing out, right? Starts and we see that root structure starts to kind of collapse in, and it's oh, are you trying to make sure this doesn't happen? Oh, that changes a lot.
Oh man, what does that mean? Is that a good thing or a bad thing for us?
I could see it going either way, because it kind of means that we've positioned ourselves our community has positioned ourselves as this vulture's enemy.
Yeah. Huh.
But we also have, our trial is also somewhat successful in this, so...
Right, it is, yeah.
Is this a good thing or a bad thing? I think that's the question that I think we're asking.
Oh, gosh.
And I think with that, we need to draw a card.
I agree. Alpha, head of the household, leader of the pack, fierce protector of kith and kin, or cult leader, defender of the homeland, enemy to outsiders and dissent. Oh, God. Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
Which is, I think that you're doing these rituals, and I'm helping somewhat, but I'm mostly keeping an eye on the horizon, as I always am. And the vulture starts to thrash in protest, and these lines in the sand get deeper and deeper and become more and more complex, and something starts to emerge. It's like when we had to see the water receding right before a tsunami, and it's the sand crumbling back in this wave, and something outside of, like, we can see it through the fog, the silhouette of this figure that like rises to meet us. I'm gonna draw again.
Okay.
I don't know what this thing looks like. Oh, that's good shit.
That's real good shit. The fountain.
Good shit. Absolutely. Industrial fall-off, leaching ruin, the venom in a serpent's corpse. And, I'm gonna say, spring water trickling down rocks, tide pools teeming with life. I think this is... It's... the ocean? Or some part of it. It's this, like, towering figure of water that is full of this, like... It looks like the forest spirit from Princess Mononoke, but as the ocean, you can see these, like, fish and like sea creatures inside, like, with all these, like, coral structures and stuff. And it's like one limb of a thing that is too big to fit in the screen, like, and it is, like, piercing through the smoke. And I don't know what it's doing, but it's here.
That's so much.
And the vulture is thrashing, and you're performing the ritual. Oh, man.
I'm gonna take an action, I think.
Yes.
I'm gonna play Flood.
Fair.
I'm gonna play Flood. And I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna go with the outpour of riches and high tide, and I am gonna go greet this thing.
Oh.
Whether or not that is, like, this is what it's all been for. This is what started all of this, was the ocean went away. If the ocean is here, maybe we convince it to not leave again. Maybe that's what we have to do, and maybe that's what all of these rituals were just. Maybe we were right. Maybe this was just a band-aid, and that maybe this is how we actually. Maybe we don't need another ritual. Maybe we don't need some great other power. Maybe we have this. Maybe we have them. So I'm gonna go greet this thing. I go and I walk through the smoke and I stand underneath this towering thing, and I am but a dot beneath this colossal entity. And I just say, welcome home. Welcome back. We missed you.
That's so good. That sounds like a conversation.
It sounds like a conversation.
Okay, let's take cards.
All right. Flip that. We have Siren.
Before we do that, let's do takeaway cards really quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna take that dubious honor. I'm suspicious.
I think I'm gonna take Alpha.
Ooh.
Because I think... Yeah, I'm taking Alpha. Because, it feels a little bit like this is me being a fierce protector of kith and kin. But it also feels like this is a little bit of me being a cult leader.
Oh, yeah.
And an enemy of outside. Like, this feels a little bit like me becoming a cult leader. So I think I'm going to take that.
Love it. All right, cool. Oops, forgot to ask, what haven't we seen the last of? Any of these are good, actually.
Any of these are very good.
I feel like Priestess, actually.
Okay.
I think that we're gonna get to know the sea a little bit better, but I feel like in the background, the town itself is probably up to some stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Right over there. And then retire these. And let's go to a conversation.
All right. What if we...
Which brings up your desire also.
Good. Good. Very good. We have Siren and Chasm.
Oh, that's so much.
That's a lot. Dry wall, a winding corridor, a gasp of breath, a long drop, a yawning cavern, or a yawning canyon, a sinkhole, a strangled scream, a klaxon wailing in the fog, a message scrawled in blood, a warning unheeded, jagged stones mistaken for...
This is so much.
This is a lot. This is a lot.
Oh my god.
Alright. I think... Do you have a preference? Or is this me?
I can frame this since this
Feel
also
free.
has your desire. Oh man. Okay. It's this, and then this on top. Because it also, this is where you have a chance at normalcy, which is fucking fascinating. So, I think at first the sea, there is a series of patterns and flashes within its body that don't make any sense. And after a moment, like, it perceives that you're not reacting or responding to any of that. So this might be kind of gross, and I'll be okay if you X-card this, but I think that a corpse, like a human corpse, floats through the water.
Oh, that's good.
And exits, and, like, steps out onto the sand. And there's this sort of, like, this trail of water that connects it back to the sea, but it's just this sort of, like, thin, like, wet line in the sand. And it's... I'm actually gonna draw for this NPC, which is just drawing 2 cards and then crossing them to describe them. Oh, that's a good combo. So that's Bandit, Highwayman, Robber Baron, Wealth Taken by Fear and Force, or Gold-Hearted Thief, Lover of Justice, Defiler of Law, and Tender of Blooms. An Apothecary, a purveyor of perfumes, poultices, and poisons, or a gardener, a florist, a teacher. I think I'm going to go with the florist, the teacher, and I think that this is someone that you lost in the storm. This is someone who was on one of the ships. Actually, you tell me about them.
This was the person that taught me the rituals.
Oh.
If we're going with teacher, I think this was the person that I had always assumed was going to fill this role. Like, if something ever happened, I never needed to worry. There was somebody else who was in that spot, and then the storm came and they were washed out to sea. And it just added to that moment that I've been kind of trapped in. And they were, they taught me everything I know, and so much, they left so much that I still don't know. This is a thing this is the person that kind of made me who I am, and I kind of hate them for it.
Oh, man. Yeah. Okay, so the strangled scream, the The klaxon wailing in the fog, I think, is a literal. I think this is the town starting up their version of the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Is like maybe a literal klaxon wailing through the fog.
Yeah, for sure.
And the chasm, the sort of gasp for breath, is, I think, both from the vulture and from this person. Does this person have a name?
Their name is Kandrin.
Kandrin.
Okay,
I'm going to write that down. Both Kandrin and the vulture are sort of like, they shudder at the sound of this thing. And the sand collapses even further. But the sea grows. The sea grows in height. And I think that when Kandrin speaks, like, water pours from their mouth as though they're coughing up water, but it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And
I think it doesn't impede their speech either. Like, it seems like they have a mouthful of water, but they speak clearly. Because I think it needed to be made just a little weirder, right?
Yeah, of course. Naturally. Oh, what do they say? It's something about the warning unheeded, and the jagged stones mistaken for safe harbor. Maybe part of the visual here then is that the sand that retreats reveals these jagged stones that are sort of spiking up out of the seabed. I think I'm going to play a card for what they say. That the thing that we have, the vulture, right? The vulture is an observer, and always has been. And thus all of the eyes. And it hasn't returned yet, obviously. And it has been observing the Shadowthorns themselves, which have been building their own structures just beyond ours, in an effort to keep the sea from returning. And this new ritual, this, like, while it is summoning the sea back from wherever it was, it is escalating the preparation of the Shadowthorns as well.
Yeah, okay. It's a lot.
Yeah, you are accelerating this oncoming war by doing this, and you need to be sure that you are ready for it when it comes, if you are going to continue to use this ritual. And I think that battle is the veil that you will have to pass through in order to get a sense of normalcy back. Because the whole reason that we're out here is to keep the walkers from, like, moving onto the mainland. And if we can stop them here for good, but we have to get through this in order to get that.
Yeah. And I think if this ritual is the thing that pushes us towards that, and getting through, if the ritual is the thing pushing us towards battle, and battle is the thing that will finally end this, which is what all of the rituals and I don't want to lump Vellum into this because they were merely doing they were doing their research, and I took it over as part of this half-hearted, half-cocked quest to end all of this. I'm going to play Alpha and say that then I have to... Then we have to do it. It's the only way. It gives everyone what they want. It says it gives the people the rituals. It lets them see the sunset, and if we know that it's coming, if we know that battle's coming, we can prepare and then see the other side and be free. It's not what I want, but I will lead us there if this is where we have to go in order to free ourselves from waiting. And if it's inevitable, if we're going to be performing this ritual one way or the other, then I will lead us there. I will be the head of household, the leader of the pack. I have engaged in action and played the alpha card, and I will go back to town and tell everyone what we found, and tell them what's coming, and see if I can get them to prepare, because this is what's coming, and we have to accept that.
I think that Vellum catches your arm as you turn, and, like, moves close to speak with you, hopefully out of earshot of Kandrin. I mean, who knows what out of earshot for an ocean is, but, Vellum says, I'm playing Cursed Sword, Brittle Steel, rusting armor, old marching orders for a new war. I don't know that we know enough about the walkers or the vultures or the sea to do this. I think we need time. Like, are you sure we're actually, like, you say we should gear up to prepare for this, but I don't know that that's gonna be a couple days or a week. I feel like we need more time.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. We need time. You're right. You're 100% correct. Of course. We can't just. So then what we do?
Like, we're not unequipped, but we are a beach. We're a resort town. we have been staving off the Shadowthorns up to this point, but that's a couple now and then. That's not an army. I'm not saying we don't do this. I'm saying we think it through and we do it right.
I'm gonna play the moon. A complete and rapid transformation. I agree that we need to do it right. And that's gonna mean everything has to change. Almost everything. The one thing that I don't want to change, Vellum, is you. And your work. I neglected its importance before. I'll be honest, I didn't want to be you. I didn't want to take your place. But I see that we need you and your teams studying this and knowing this and understanding this so that we can so that when it comes, we know everything there is to know. We don't have time. We might not have time. And so it's more important than ever that we work with the time that we have.
Okay.
Okay.
Should we do takeaways?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Cursed Sword back, because I'm gonna need that.
That sounds right. I might take Tender of Blooms.
Alright.
Now I'm gonna take Alpha back. This feels like I'm just real leaning into Alpha here.
Alright, cool. I'm gonna stick Kandrin's cards up at the top. Just to keep them in mind. And then I guess the Shadowthorns we haven't seen the last of, right? Like, it's gonna come back to us, so those stick in here somewhere. Alright, so collect the rest of these. What next? We have a challenge, a revelation, a cataclysm, a gift, or a vision, a sabotage.
I think it's either a challenge, a revelation, or a cataclysm, a gift. I think it's got to be a challenge, right?
Yeah, I think so. Like, either if it's near or far, it's or like from the home or from abroad, it's going to be a challenge either way. Which is Changeling, a stranger behind a familiar face, unpredictable and uncontrollable, Or an odd blessing, a mystery unquestioned, a strange pallbearer. And Dippold's lenses, a misdiagnosis, a lack of direction, a paralysis of choice. Or a change of perspective, clarifying of vision.
I think I want to use stranger behind a familiar face, unpredictable and uncontrollable. Because I think Kandrin is still here.
Oh.
And we're still interacting with Kandrin. We're still interacting with them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also not Kandrin, right? They're also not Kandrin. Like, they're not this person that we knew. This is the ocean. This is the thing that is pushing us towards battle.
Yeah. Also, I forgot that an invitation was tied to Stone Soup, which is my desire. But I feel like that tracks. So every desire is up for grabs. When you feel like you've narratively earned your desire, you can take it into your hand.
Okay.
Does Kandrin have like intel?
I kind of think they do, but I think it's riddles and it's trickery.
Mm-hmm. It's like it's the like lack of direction where Kandrin will point to a place on the map and say this is where they have an outpost and it's full of shadow thorns, and then one of us will be like, okay, so then we should approach that from the south, and then Kandrin will point to where we said things were, and then they'll say this is a canyon full of stone teeth and monsters, and we're like, oh, then we should maybe the north then? Is that? And it's just like
it's just an endless series of these like riddles and in metaphor, and we just have no way of knowing what they're saying. It is paralysis of choice. They're giving us all these things, and we don't know how to act on any of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Vellum is going to ask, Vellum is going to bring up the, sort of fence that they've been building, this, this veil, and ask, okay, but, like, why is that working? Just, like, is there some way to condense that down into something that a person can carry and wield? Like, what about that? Is there any way that we can weaponize that?
I think I'm gonna pull for the answer to that. Because I'm not sure. Knight, tilter of windmills, teethed on tradition, malice bred by boredom, a well-armed soldier, a banner. So that's actually really perfect, and I kind of think there is. I think between the two of us, like you asking the questions, Kandrin giving answers, and I'm going to take an action.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to play the fool.
Ooh.
And I'm going to flip it. Flip it back to wide-eyed and open-hearted by listening to Kandrin and sort of knowing the bits of their language that like I remember. We're able to be like, wait, oh, but, and like we talk to Kandrin, we understand what they're saying, and we kind of start to work out that language and that communication of like, okay, then maybe we do have this ability. Maybe we do have the ability to like make this happen. Maybe we can weaponize this. Maybe this is the thing that protects us from the walkers.
Hell damn yeah.
Okay.
And that's some cursed swords, baby.
That's a cursed sword.
Voracious blade. A double-edged, glittering red with an unquenchable thirst. Hell goddamn yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that it looks like, I want it to look like these lances, that are, made of this mirror, and down the center of them, and sort of trailing up from the hilt, is this, this burning, whatever burning stuff that we were using to keep, the smoke screen. And it's sort of like emanating from like the edge of the lance and out of the point. And I think that there is like, the outside of it is wet. Mm-hmm. Like it's covered in seawater, that Camdren has like blessed it with, kind of, or anointed it with. Mm-hmm. And the embers inside, reflect on the water. So it's like glittering red.
Yeah.
That's what I think that looks like.
I think you're exactly right.
And I think that's a good scene.
I think that's a good scene.
Cards.
I think that's a good scene. I'm going to take night.
All right.
I'm going to take night. I think I might not take night. I think I'm going to take grandmother's ring.
Ooh, yes.
I think we have this new partnership. We have this steady alliance. Mm-hmm.
That was the world's desire, right?
Yes.
It's not exactly how the rules work, but I like it, so I'm going to allow it.
Oh. If I shouldn't take that card, I can put it back.
Well, generally the desire goes to whoever's desire it was.
Oh. Well, then I will not take it, and I will take night.
Okay.
All right.
In full circle.
So I'm going to take night.
Cool. It feels a little cheap to do, but I think I'm just going to take her sword back.
It feels like that's where the story is going. I think that's entirely the right call.
Yeah. For the Arbiter's deck, Changeling or Adversary, do you think?
Adversary.
Yeah.
We're going to battle.
Yeah. Cool. So this gets retired. What happens next?
I think a cataclysm. Mm-hmm. I think the cataclysm.
Interesting. That's Gilded Lily. Fashion and flourish, high court grandeur, a gift as sweet as it is absurd. Or gutting a clock to wear its gears, stolen relics as children's toys.
Oh, it's definitely that one.
Mm-hmm.
And merchant. Locus of commerce, purveyor of goods. Bureaucratic bottleneck, factory boss of the company store. Feel very strongly about where stolen relics are used as children's toys.
Mm-hmm.
As I feel very strongly that like we are just haphazardly repurposing this holy, maybe unholy knowledge as a weapon, and we are just sort of slapdashing it all together.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Vellum is absolutely mobilizing the machine of their industry to make these blades, and to in fact I'll just play that, and to create this army that will go up against the Shadowthorns. And I think that I want to... Okay, here's Vellum's plan, which is to draw the Shadowthorns into the town through a bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
And pick off the big ones and get them down to a point where they have to retreat, and then follow them to the things that they protect.
Okay.
Once we've thinned them down, then we can fight them on their turf.
I think I'm gonna play Knight. No, I'm gonna play Prince of Fate.
Ooh.
Yep, I'm playing Prince of Fate. Last of a legacy, blessed by birthright, cursed by prophecy. Deposed and exiled, titles revoked actually works perfectly here. I am stepping down from my role.
Oh.
I am leading this because I don't want Vellum to... I think the work you're doing, I think you're better served here, researching. And besides, you're older. I'm younger. I can do this. Let me lead this attack. Let me lead our final battle. Let me make this happen.
Absolutely fucking not. I sort of like gestured down to the suit that I've been wearing this entire time. I'm like, listen, you're in your prime, and you will outlive me, assuredly. I'm actually gonna flip this also, because, the wilting flower crown, the dubious honor, is, the honor that we will win out there is important but temporary. What is important is what happens after, with rebuilding and getting us back to... I mean, we're never going to get back to where we were. That past is long behind us. But figuring out what comes next is going to take 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Which you still have in you. I'm sorry, I can't let you have this easy out.
I'm gonna play the alpha and agree and say, okay, I understand. I think if this is what you want, I will. You lead the battle, and I will rebuild. I will rebuild all of this. I will carry on the legacy that you have taken. I will give the world what you have given our community. None of this will be in vain.
Mm-hmm.
It's taken a long road for me to step up and be the leader. I will do this. For you.
See that you do. I think we should draw from the Arbiter's deck for the battle,
so.
for the most part.
I think so, and I think I might also play my Atropos.
Oh shit, alright.
I think Moon out of Orb... I think for what happens after the battle, I'm going to save it, because I think that... I think either way, it is... Either way, Atropos is being played, and it just depends on which of my two... which side the card gets played on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm actually also going to take Stone Soup, because guess what? There is an ocean out there.
There is.
I was right.
You were right. All right.
I'm going to flip this. Actually, it's kind of both. The moving finish line, and a worthy opponent, right? Like, we are well matched. And our tactics are working, but barely. It's by the grace of our tactics that we're holding our own.
Yeah.
And the proud, venomous obsession of unswayed by reason or patience. These things are terrifying and relentless. Mm-hmm. I think for Vellum's part and for Vellum's sort of the people under Vellum, under the veneer of impassive stone's fragile flesh dressed in sand, the cursed swords just cut through these things like butter. Mm-hmm. And these things which have previously taken, like, an entire squad to take down one of, you know, in like the entire afternoon, and serious losses. And we are just cutting through them, just mowing them down.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what happens. I think we tear through them. Nope, I'm playing my Atropos.
Oh.
I think it's a slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is, as leader, I make sure that it is stricken from history.
Oh.
What we did. And the bloody cost that it took to get here. I think it is stricken from the book. We don't talk about it. The losses that we suffered, the things that we did, we don't talk about it anymore. Mm-hmm. Because it would sully the legacy of Vellum to have that in the world. So I let Vellum live as the scholar that guided us, rather than how they died, or didn't die, rather than how they fought. We simply move on.
Yeah.
We live our lives, and we rebuild.
Oh man. Shoot. Oh, that leaves me with a very hard decision to make. Which is what we learned here about the ocean and about how things work, about the vulture even, and about the rituals and whatnot. Is this something that we universalize, or is this something that we keep, need to know?
Which do you think it is? I certainly have thoughts, but it's your Atropos.
It is my Atropos, yeah. Okay, I think that Vellum does die in the battle. They're old and there are many. I'm gonna say that their research is in a tower, in a lighthouse, that they worked from. I don't know. I don't know if they wanted this to be common knowledge. I
really like the idea of that it's talked about in art, in the way that post World War I was abstracted into art as a way to talk about it.
Oh, I'm extremely into that. Yeah.
I kind of think that's where it ends. Is because we've stricken it from history. We don't talk about it because knowing what happened out there would sully my legacy, sully Vellum's legacy. It would undo the entire community. But you can't stop the people from trying to process that. And I think that's the compromise. Absolutely. I think that's the compromise that we made in order to live, to survive.
Perfect.
I think
then yeah.
Is that game?
One last question.
Okay.
Which is, the world's Atropos was Echo, a glance unseen, a shadow trailing, a desire unrequited. Did that come true?
I think it... You know what? I don't know.
I think in the sense of, this... the people who came back from the battle not being able to talk about it, as decreed by Anders himself, and I think it is probably part decree, part just mutual agreement that what we saw out there is horrible and doesn't deserve to. It doesn't deserve to be written down in history. We're not going to honor it like that. And I think that the shadow trailing, this even though we don't talk about it, it still lingers with people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the habits of the people who lived through it, still, the echoes of that still reverberate through their children, through their children's children.
Yep. We can never be rid of it no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's Spindlewheel.
That's fucking amazing. Wow. What a game. Dang. Thank you for coming on Party of One. This was amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, this was awesome. Give me a second to compose myself before I do the wrap-up stuff. Thank you so much for coming on the show. This was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So real quick before we wrap up, where can people find you and Spindlewheel online?
You can find me on Twitter at Sasha_Reneau. You can find Spindlewheel and all my game design stuff at TCabbage. You can find Spindlewheel. You can play it all completely free. It's in open beta. Please give me feedback at tinyurl.com/spindlewheel-open-beta. And that's all. One more thing, which is that I am recording If you want to hear more Spindlewheel stories, you can hear that at Spindlewheel Stories, which is the name of the podcast that I have. That is just me playing these with a rotating cast of guests.
That's amazing. This game was great. Thank you for coming on the show. This was a delight, and now I am going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Sasha for coming on the show. That game was... Wow, that was a lot. That was an incredible experience, and I'm really glad that it was caught on a microphone and I was able to share it with you, the listener. That was... Wow, it was good. It was a good game. Be sure to follow T-Cabbage on Twitter at T-Cabbage, Sasha on Twitter at Sasha_Reneau, and check out Spindlewheel at tcabbage.com/Spindlewheel. While you're there, check out Spindlewheel Stories, Sasha's actual play where they play Spindlewheel with a variety of guests, telling the same kind of truly incredible immersive stories that you heard here. Cannot recommend it enough. Then, while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod, like the show facebook.com/Party of One Podcast, join our Discord community at bit.ly/Party of One Discord, and if you enjoyed the show, consider leaving us a nice iTunes review, a social media shout-out, or a word-of-mouth recommendation to a friend. Any of those things help new listeners find the show, which helps us do bigger, better, and cooler things. If you listen to the show and thought, gosh, I wish I could just hear Jeff talk about world building with one other person for 45 minutes a week, boy, do I have a podcast for you. All My Fantasy Children is a character creation, storytelling, and world building podcast powered by you. Every week, my best friend Aaron Catano-Saez and I take a listener prompt, and using some of our favorite tabletop role-playing games, we spin them into an original fantasy character. As we go, we build a mythology and populate a shared universe one story at a time. New episodes drop every Friday at allmyfantasychildren.com. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers. Interested in coming on to the show? Whether you are a podcaster, a game designer, a professional wrestler, a writer, actor, comedian, film critic, kaiju, financial guru, or you just love a good role-playing game, you can email me at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance, and as always, party on, everybody.